The Amazing Spider-Man 1 was almost better than any Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. Almost. I'm not going to claim that for The Amazing Spider-Man 2. We know how that died a death of 1,000 cuts. But there was one thing in both movies that was the nail in the coffin for the franchise. Let's get into it. It has to do with the endings. In the endings of The Amazing Spider-Man 1, we have the tragic death of... Stacy, what was his plea? I'm sorry, I'm doing this all off the cuff, so I do not remember his rank. Officer Stacy, Gwen Stacy's father, dies, makes Peter promise to never talk to her again as a form of protecting her. It is heartbreaking, beautiful, emotionally wrenching, and we see that in moments like these.
You made you promise, didn't he? To stay away from me, so I'd be safe.
To give a little more context about how great this movie was and really could have ascended to be, I saw the movie with Kevin Smith on his show Spoilers for Hulu, and I cried 4 times. The first one was this moment.
Your father lived by a philosophy. He believed that if you could do good things for other people, you had a moral obligation to do those things.
It's all well and good, so where is he? Where is he? Where's my dad? He didn't think it was his responsibility to be here to tell me this himself.
Because I don't know my biological father and I got daddy issues. I've forgotten the second time, but the third time was when Peter does this to Flash.
Not today, Flash.
Hey, come on, man. I just want to talk.
It feels better, right?
Look, your uncle died. I'm sorry. I get it. I'm sorry.
And that was because almost completely through first grade through 12th, I was relentlessly bullied. And the idea that a bully could actually be there to comfort him just wiped me out. The fourth time was Green Dead, of course. Interestingly, while rewatching the endings for this, multiple moments were making me get emotional, like this moment with Aunt May near the end.
What a pretty girl.
That's what Uncle Ben said.
Did you ask her out? Why?
I'm just no good for her.
Peter Parker. If there's one thing you are, it's good. Anyone has a problem with that can talk to me.
But it was this beautiful ending that was emotional and dark and affecting. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 did that similarly, except they threw in a lot of more plot and spooky shit to set up the Sinister Six. But in that, we have another tragic death connected to Peter Parker's life as Spider-Man, of course, Gwen Stacy. And we see this tragedy lay out over an entire year of mourning for Peter, with his Aunt May trying to get through to him, try to just help him get back to some sense of normalcy so that he can know where he's going, as outlined in this question.
Peter, where are you going?
I don't know.
And paying off the young boy that Peter helped save from bullying earlier in the movie, we get this. Now, yes, again, death by 1,000 cuts. What the fuck is the mom doing there? What are all the people doing there, cordoned off, just feet away from bullets and tracer rounds and the rhino and all this shit? And Paul Giamatti has a very cartoonish or comic book-y aesthetic to his voice and his mannerisms and everything. But again, we get this opportunity for a really affecting moment that is great. And it's the little boy walking out and standing up to the rhino, and it's filmed and sound mixed so beautifully that we get to hear Spider-Man swinging in before it pans away from the young boy.
Hey, Spider-Man.
And we see that Spider-Man has returned to the responsibility he has with the level of power he has. And none of this is what ruins the movie. None of this is the nail in the coffin, but it's all deeply relevant to it, because after these moments have just hit us as an audience, let us sink in. I doubt it in The Amazing Spider-Man 2 if those are really hitting you after the 2-hour or however long experience of that you've had to go through. But these are beautiful, moments of storytelling thanks to Mark Webb and everyone else who worked on the films. And not everyone else who worked on the films. Let me take that back, because I got bones to pick with Amy Pascal and Avi Arad. He has tarnished these movies so much. But after these, I'm going to start with The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and then go into The Amazing Spider-Man 1. After Peter had this deeply emotional moment with this kid and came back to take up the mantle again, and there's the Rhino, an active threat. Does he go to stop the Rhino immediately? No, he jumps up on a cop car. A cop hands him a megaphone. What the fuck? And he starts just blah, 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 just shitting on him like the Spider-Man talking where Spider-Man's in the middle of a fight and we love to hear it, the banter. But what the fuck is this moment? You're shitting all over the emotional moment you've just had, just gave everyone the opportunity to walk out on, and you have some weird banter and he tosses back the megaphone over his head. Thankfully, there's a police officer to catch it, but what the fuck is this behavior? It's like when Peter in the movie put on a fucking fireman's hat to douse Electro. What the fuck is that? Why are you wasting time grabbing a fireman's hat to wear it to look cool? That's great in a comic book, but in this context, it's so stupid. And it was just a really bad way to leave the movie, to leave the audience with that taste in their mouth. And that brings us to The Amazing Spider-Man 1, which again has a great moment between Flash and Peter, where Flash, presumably because of Peter's influence and Spider-Man's influence, has started becoming a better person, and they're actually connecting. Also, where the fuck was the Flash in The Amazing Spider-Man 2? What a waste. Anyway, we get this scene where Peter comes into the classroom, and he's late. Apparently he's been late a lot. And the teacher talks to him and calls him out for it, and he says, I won't be late again, promise. And the teacher says, don't make promises you can't keep. Now, I just want to revisit that moment when he made the promise to Captain Stacy. Oh, Captain Stacy, right?
You promised me. Oh.
And then let me just show you the line after the teacher telling him don't make promises you can't keep.
Yeah, but those are the best kind.
Okay, class, open your books. Let's begin on page 1.
What the fuck is that? Are you kidding me? Let me just put it in context. Essentially, what just happened is Peter came into the classroom. Teacher said, you're late. He says, I apologize, I'm not going to be late again, I promise. Teacher says, don't make promises you can't keep. And Peter leans in to Gwen and says, but that promise I made to your dying father to never talk to you again. Oh, those are the best promises to make. Like, look at this moment after Captain Stacy dies. Is that someone relishing in the, oh, I'm making your dying wish, I'm disrespect? What the fuck? It recontextualizes everything about the third act, or at least from Gwen Stacy dying and onwards, and just shits on it. And then we have Gwen Stacy smiling at it? That is so fucking disrespectful. You know how easy it would have been to avoid that disgusting of a last line? Sometimes I just can't help myself. Cool. You want to have a hint that they'll be get back together, as if that wouldn't have been fucking obvious to every single person in the audience. Sometimes I can't help myself. Because relishing and enjoying and smiling at the idea that he made a promise to Gwen Stacy's dying father, to which he has completely abandoned her and not actually consoled her at all on said death of her father, is disgusting. What the fuck? There was so much promise. Yeah, it was rough around the edges, but that's the last thing that your audience has walking out of the theater. Oh, they're both happy that he lied to her dying dad. What the fuck is that? I was so disappointed at these endings. I love The Amazing Spider-Man 1. I even got a collectible set with like figurines. I don't have it with me, but I can show you what it's like. It's like this, you know how they had those collectibles? Either unfortunately or fortunately, an ex of mine had it when I saw The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I say that because if I had it with me after seeing The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I was so incensed at how shit that movie was that I would have taken it, recorded me smashing it, and put it online. So fortunately it didn't get destroyed. I still never gotten it back. But gosh, Andrew Garfield is amazing. Sally Fields is amazing. Martin Sheen is amazing. See Grace and Frankie if you haven't. Emma Stone was amazing. The cast was amazing. Even Emma Stone's brother. Hey, look, the guy from the good Olivia Wilde directed movie. There was such promise and such space for us to love this iteration of Spider-Man. That's why I love that Andrew Garfield got to come back for for Spider-Man No Way Home, the only other Spider-Man movie that's ever made me cry. And I guess we should be thankful that it shit the bed so hard in that second one. But my gosh, what a way to trip right before the finish line. Jeez. There are mediocre movies that have great endings that you leaving the theater, you'll be like, wow, that movie was a great experience. The idea that you can have a bad movie like Amazing Spider-Man 2 or a good movie like Amazing Spider-Man 1 and have these deeply emotional end of third acts resolutions and then just shit all over it. Yeah, there's no wonder people, especially for the two, people disliked. I don't know if this is going to be a cohesive or coherent video essay. I'm doing this all off the cuff because I'm supposed to go to the Clerks All Night screening and got my plane tickets that was rescheduled. So I am going to be editing this on a meaningless trip because I'm flying to Newark Airport and I'll check out New Jersey public transportation and do basically nothing. And then uploading this once I've landed at 8 a.m. after having probably not slept all night, and I've had 2 5-hour energies already today. So I hope you enjoyed that. But what was your favorite part of the Amazing Spider-Man movies? Because I mean, I still want to talk positively about some stuff because it wasn't all bad. Anyway, cheers, and come over to the community tab or the free Discord because I actually am really working hard to build up those spaces as places where we can all talk to each other.